language, Assalamu alaikum, but it means peace be unto you. Brothers and sisters, we are very happy and honored to be here tonight. The Junkanu, marvelous, marvelous. You got the old man trying to jump up again. I enjoyed so much being here. Usually whenever I go into a country or a city to speak, I go to my hotel, I go to the engagement, I come back, I have guests, and I teach, and I go to bed, and that's my life. But here I am in the Bahamas. I came to make a speech, but my beautiful sister, Beverly Smith, had something in mind for me, and she took me to Clifton Heritage National Park, and there I learned my purpose for being here was bigger than making a speech. I never knew of this wonderful man, Mr. Peter Nygard, excuse me. I had never heard of him. And then I got a call that he wanted to offer us his plane to bring me from Belize to Nassau. And unfortunately, we didn't make that arrangement, but his plane met me in Miami and brought me here. And here I am in this beautiful place, and I heard all this wonderful testimony tonight to this man's spirit, this man's heart, this man's charity, this man's deep, abiding love for the Bahamas, for the Bahamian people, and for humanity. I looked in his eyes and he looked in mine. Sometimes, you know, you think you know people, but the Bible says you must discern the spirit, because man is more than flesh and blood. This is the house that the Spirit lives in. So when I shake your hand, I haven't really met you. I met the house that you live in. But when I become acquainted with the spirit of that person, then I know you for real. And when I met Mr. Nygard, I became acquainted with a spirit that I recognize. It's the spirit of goodness. It's the spirit of kindness. And the deepest spirit of all is the spirit of love. Jesus, before he left, he gave his disciples 2 commandments, and then he finished it with a third. He said, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second commandment is like unto that, love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love your neighbor until you learn to love yourself, and you can't love yourself until you know yourself. And one of the great tragedies of the transatlantic slave trade was the complete robbery of the black man and woman of the knowledge of self. We're living in the Bahamas. We were under the British slave masters and British colonial masters, but from us was taken our African name, our African language, our African history, our African culture, the knowledge of our God. And so we were in the Western Hemisphere stripped of what we once were. So the Bible says By the rivers of Babylon we wept when we remembered Zion. We hung our harps on the willow tree. And then it said, they that carried us away captive required of us mirth, and they that wasted us required of us a song, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. And the answer came back, how can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? And here we are in the Bahamas, a beautiful night, a beautiful, beautiful sandy beach. And over there, somebody is being disturbed over the music, over the gaiety, over the warmth and love that is going on the property of Mr. Nygard. I would leave you with these few words. First, Beverly, Beverly, Beverly. Thank you, sweetheart, for bringing me to this and making me, and Mr. Code Smith, where's Code? Code, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful man and his family with me. Mr. Nygard, I want you to know that I met you for the first time last evening, but it is as if I've known you for a long, long time. May God continue to bless you and keep you and protect you. There's a verse in the Quran that I would like to close with. It talks about God has created the human being to face difficulties. The difficulties that Mr. Wiley had, he faced those difficulties. And in facing those difficulties, it brought out of him the essence of his purpose for existence. His purpose for existence was to take that land in memory of the ancestors and make it a national monument, not only for the people of the Bahamas, but whenever visitors come, instead of going somewhere else, they will come to Clifton Heritage Park to pay homage to the ancestors. But here's what this Quranic verse says. God has given us two conspicuous ways. Moses said, I put before you today two signs, one of life and blessing, one of death and cursing. Two conspicuous ways. And then it says, you have not attempted the uphill road. And the question is asked, what will make you know what the uphill road is? It is to free a slave and to feed the hungry and to look after the orphans and to pick up the man that is lying in the dust. This is the mission of life for those who take the best way to live life. You don't live life for yourself alone. You live life beyond yourself for those beyond yourself, and then you prepare a future for those that come behind you and me. Mr. Nygard is a man who has chosen the right road for his life. All the testimonies that I heard tonight was of a man of deep concern and love for his fellow human beings. He seems to have a deep love for the Bahamas and the Bahamian people. I want you to know black is really not a color. Black is the essence from which all color comes. Now listen, I was with my teacher and he said, they call me a black nationalist. He said, brother, black is not national. Black is universal. For everything starts in darkness, then comes out into the light. So when I look at a man with the spirit of Mr. Peter Nygard, I listened to his son speak. I met the people that are around him. These are people who understand the purpose of life is not to be a master, but to use our gifts to be a servant. And Bev, you are a great servant of our people, a great servant for humanity. And my Dorothy, where's my Dorothy? Dorothy, you too are a great servant, a great follower of Dr. King, a great friend of mine. And I thank you all for allowing me this privilege to come here to this home, to be here. I usually am in my bed at this time of night because I've been up since 5 this morning working. So as soon as I finish this little talk, which is now, I am going to get me some rest because tomorrow is my last day in the Bahamas. God willing, I'll be at the university. And if you have nothing to do and you would like to come and share the evening, it's free and you're welcome. And lastly, do this wonderful junkanoo. You know, I first saw you on Boxing Day, about 25 or 30 years ago. I was in the Bahamas resting, and it happened to be the 26th of December, and I came out on the street, and I saw what I saw tonight, and the tears rolled down my eyes, not because I was crying for sadness. I was crying for joy to see black people who have suffered so much for so long, dancing and singing and enjoying the spirit of life. And that's what I saw tonight in the junkanoo. And I watched the people. I saw you, Jamalita. I really wanted to, you know what I mean. I wanted to cut up, how you know? May God bless you, may God keep you, may God grant you his peace. Thank you so much for allowing me this privilege to be with you tonight. Thanks again. Thank you, Mr. Nygard.